answering
This
the
conference will now be recorded.
if you want to have a specific answers and all, you need to sign an engagement letter. Then only it becomes a client and attorney relationship. All these questions are not specific. It is a generic one. What we are giving now, what we are answering now. So any specific questions has to come directly to us. Anyway, before end of the session, we'll announce how we are going to treat that specific questions. Okay, let me go through that CARES Act. What it is giving is stimulus rebates, which is already rolled over last Friday for individuals, singles of 75 to 99,000 and married filing joint 150 to 199. We'll go and explain each and everything later on. And the charitable donations, like earlier, only itemized people can do the charitable donations deductions, but this time they have given a special provision of allowing a deduction of $200-300 for charitable donations. And especially this stimulus is very good for the people who already have a IRAs, SEPA IRA, and 401k, and who want to take a loan and have a liquid cash during this situation. For them, there is 2-3 options are there. We'll go over one after one. And there are people who are like around 70 plus. They have a required minimum distribution, but also they have waived this year. And student loans, especially for student loans who are studying masters or whatever it is. Now employers can give $5,250 as a student loan waiver directly from employer. You can get it, and interest is also waived until September 30th. This is the summary of the CARES Act for the individuals. And in this, Mr. Sunil will check over, because there are certain things which is everybody is worried, like what if we take these benefits? It is going to affect any of our immigration things for future? That's what the first and primary concern for many people whom we are getting calls from it. Sunil, can you go with that one? Public charge.
Sure. Hi, everyone. This is Sunil Bamuru. I am also with IMI Service, like Chris. He is my partner. Is the volume okay, Chris? Hello?
Yeah.
Yes, it's good.
That's good.
Volume is okay, but if you can come on the video, I don't know. Is it something on our end, Chinna?
No, I think this one, the video does not work.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's continue.
Okay, sure. So as Chris is just mentioning, there is this question of whether or not the taking of any sort of recovery rebates or unemployment insurance under the CARES Act will affect your future applications. As you may know, in February 2020, the USAS finalized their public charge rule, which states that, and this public charge rule has been part of the Immigration and Naturalization Act since 1952, but they updated it to be a little bit more strict due to the policies of the current administration. And what it is saying is that if you take any sort of public assistance for a 12-month period in the prior 36-month period, then you will be inadmissible as a green card holder. You won't be able to get a green card, or you won't be able to apply for non-immigrant status. So those of you who have maybe recently filed an amendment or extension for H1 since February, you may have seen these new pages in the H1 form or in the H4 forms, which ask you, did you ever take, the food stamps or Section 8 housing or some other various types of federal benefits or even state benefits? And you'll generally check no. I would assume most are checking no for that one, because if you have to check yes, then they have to see which kind of benefits you take and whether or not that makes you inadmissible as a H1 non-immigrant. The question here is, does the CARES Act also fall underneath that? And the answer to that would be no, because the rebate that you receive from the government, the recovery rebate, is structured as a automatically advanced tax credit. This has actually specifically been designed not to count as a public charge factor for your future H1 applications or your future green card or citizenship applications. That being said, to receive the rebate in the first place, and I believe this applies to most individuals, if not all individuals on this call, you do need to have a valid social security number that's been issued to you. And you need to be considered a non-resident alien. What a non-resident alien is based on the IRS definition, which is a certain period of time that you have to be present in the United States. it's a very simple mathematical formula. To my knowledge, pretty much no one here would fail that test. It's essentially saying if you've been in the United States for at least 180 days of the previous 3 years. For the 2 years prior, they get a little bit less weight. But if you've been here, if you've been working in the United States, 100% chance that you qualify as a non-resident alien under the IRS tax purposes. Therefore, you should be able to receive a recovery rebate under the CARES Act.
Sunil, it's a resident alien, non-resident. It's a resident alien.
Sorry, yeah, I meant to say not resident alien. And there's a simple formula for that. I don't anticipate anyone having an issue with that here. If you have only been in the United States for a minimal amount of time, less than 6 months, then maybe you need to talk to a professional about that. But again, I don't anticipate that to be an issue for most H-1B holders. Unfortunately, or rather, if you have an individual tax identification number and you're filing the taxes that way, you unfortunately do not qualify for the CARES rebate. Again, so if you don't have SSN issued to you, then you won't be eligible for this CARES rebate. And if you're looking for the children benefits as well, I believe it's $500 per child, but the children need to have the SSN as well in order for you to qualify for that specific child's CARES rebate.
Yeah, as said, apart from this, there are 2 more topics we want to discuss. I think that is morely of a discussion oriented. Like, for example, what they have to do it at present situation, like liquidating tax inefficient mutual funds, harvesting losses, and converting traditional rollover. When you come to retirement, I'll explain in detail what it is and all, or while answering the people, we can do that. And front loading a 529 funding, that education funding, so that in this situation, because markets are low, it is wise to put that into that way. And investing in HSAs, which are much better than the IRAs. So these are the options we have at present situation. So I'll open the calls from one after one, and if these topics are not covered in the questions, then I'll explain in detail what it is. Okay, you can start asking questions. Hello, anyone have any questions?
Yeah, Krishna, maybe, I think we had a question before from one of our audience. So do you want to answer?
Yeah, that is a specific instant questions, and I have noted down. That will come to that. That is a specific instant, because there's not even related to not just only the COVID one. There's a passport which has a Indian office, and again, there is a solution for it. I'm going to tell her what is the solution. But let us start with our questions.
I have a quick question. So I think Sunigara just said for the child claim, we need to have the child should have an SSN. So
Yep.
Is that SSN, or even you can have a tax ID?
No, tax ID is not sufficient. That's what, see, prior to even if you see the rebates which were given during the Obama administration for that recession starting in 2007, that time also the people with ITINs, they didn't get the
No, I see.
and this time also they don't get it. That too, this administration is more stringent on the people who don't have SSN. If you remember, the Tax Act last year changed. The child tax credit came down to $500 for ITIN holders, whereas for SSN holders, it went up from $1,000 to $2,000.
Mm-hmm. So when they said couples, so let's say if only, for the people with the one person working, if the spouse does not have SSN, they still get the couples.
Yeah, one adult will get $1,200 if they are on the tax bracket, ACA bracket.
Yes, it's the same situation. To qualify for the CARES rebate, recovery rebate or CARES, you must absolutely have a social security number for that individual that's asking for the rebate, and you must be a resident alien. So that's the 2 factors that have to be met in order to even get the rebate in the first place, as Chris is saying.
Oh, resident alien. I missed that part in the beginning.
The resident alien part, I would not worry. As I mentioned earlier, it's 99.99% chance everyone here is qualified as a resident alien. If you have not been, go ahead.
Yeah, except that the people who came just last year, June, July, they might not qualify for the to be treated as a resident alien because they're under 183 days.
180 days. Okay.
Yes.
And I have a question. So the rebate that they are going to receive, the $1,200 or the $2,400, would that fall into the category as well as taking benefit from the government? The one we
Sunil clarified.
No.
It was even though it was treated as a rebate, they call as a rebate, that is a refundable credit. So credits will not be allowed to benefit.
okay.
Yes, it does not qualify as taking up public assistance. Therefore, you do not report it on any future H1 form or green card application. As I mentioned earlier, if you see the new I-129 form or the new I-539 form for H4s, there's new pages in there where you have to check, did I take a Section 8 housing assistance? Did I take Medicaid assistance? Did I take food stamp assistance? Under none of those options would this rebate be a checkbox. So therefore, you would still check the no, I have not received any public benefits box when you're filing your application or your employer is filing the H-1B petition.
Okay,
And
someone is on.
I think Chinagar, I think
Sorry.
you need to tell everybody how to unmute the thing. Otherwise, then only they'll start questioning the things.
Yeah.
Okay, if someone is on EAD, L2 or L1 EAD, and if they lose a job and if they claim the benefits, the unemployment benefits, does it come under? Will it be a problem for green card, getting a green card?
No. Again, so I'm going to talk about unemployment actually for a little while, just now that we are actually getting to that topic. So unemployment benefits are also considered not to be a public benefit because actually the unemployment benefits are funded through the taxes from your employer's side. It's not like it's not a federally, like a federal taxpayer kind of a benefit. It's coming through the employers themselves. So therefore, unemployment benefits traditionally is not considered to be a public charge issue for purposes of green card and for purposes of future 539 extensions as well. So you should not at this time be concerned about taking the unemployment benefits for H4 EAD.
Yeah, let me add another question, answer to that one, Bhaskar. The thing is, they can only climb the benefit until the expiry of that EAD or whatever it is. They should not climb more than that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, so just to clarify what Chris said, sure. Just to clarify on what Chris said, the reason that you don't want to claim the benefit until past the date of your EAD is because that the fundamental criterion to claim unemployment is that you need to be considered to be ready and able to work is a term that many states use. And in order to be considered to be ready and able to work, you have to have some sort of work authorization and you should be able to work for any employer. This is why H1s are traditionally not considered eligible for unemployment benefits because H1s are tied to specific employers. So you're not technically ready and able to work for any employer when you are with a particular H1 employer or when they have to file a petition for you. This is unlike EAD or green card where all options are available to you. Therefore, the unemployment benefits are more applicable to your situation in that sense.
Okay, thank you.
So is income level depends on this credit?
Yeah, I mean, may I know who is on the line?
This is Venkat.
Venkat, see, as I said, I'll go over, like, it is basically an income AGI limit, whatever. If you already filed 2019 taxes, they will consider 2019 AGI. If you have not filed 2019 taxes, they will consider 2018 taxes. For example, I'll tell you the critical situation here. If your 2018 income is 150 or below, and your 2019 is 190, I would advise my clients to hold on to their tax filing because they have a deadline extended until July 15th, so that IRS will look into your 2018 tax return and they will send you the stimulus package, I mean stimulus rebate checks for you and your family. And if you file 2019, obviously they go with your 2019 income, which where you will get less money based on the income. So it starts phasing out from 150K for joint filers. Every $1,000 of your additional income will be down with $50 of your refund, I mean, that rebate check. So it ends by 198. What your 198 is there, you are gone 199. But still, you will get a credit for it. See, for example, for you, it is like $200,000 is your gross income for 2018. Can't you get anything? Yes, you don't get for you and your spouse, but your children may be eligible for that one, $500 one.
Okay, so you better to wait for 2019 filing in this case.
Yeah, if your income is more than 2018, yes.
Oh, okay.
You see, if your income 2019 is for some reason 2018 income is 200K for you, so 2019 is 150, I'll advise them to file it within this week itself, because they started rolling from the day for yesterday. On Friday they started sending the checks.
So
Oh,
essentially,
okay.
what Chris is saying is the lower you want the year where you can show a lower income to get the maximum rebate from the government. The lower your income, the more rebate from government that you get.
Yeah, my income is increased from 2008 to 19.
Then obviously you have to wait. If it is more than 150, and it is better to wait, and after getting the stimulus rebate, you can file, because July 15th is the extended deadline.
What he's saying is to wait to file your current year's taxes, because you want to wait for them to deposit your check based on your 2018 income before you file the 2019 taxes. Because if you file the 2019 taxes, say today, then the federal government will see that your income has increased. Therefore, they're going to automatically give you less of a recovery rebate than if you simply waited until July 15th. Is it June or either June or July 15th is when the new tax deadline is. So it's better to wait to file your taxes as of now.
Okay.
One
Thank
more
you.
news for everybody, for not for this caller, for everybody. See, don't worry that okay, this situation came now, I got laid off this year, my income will be less this year. Not 2019 is my income is good, I could not get the stimulus. This year 3 months is gone, I don't have job for 3 months. Definitely I'll fall under the bracket. What I have to do? You don't need to do anything. Wait for 2020 W2s. When you file 2020 tax returns in 2021, still you can claim the stimulus. Still you can claim the stimulus. If your income is down 2020 and you meet the guidelines, still you can claim the rebate when you file 2021 taxes. This is a refundable credit. This is a refundable credit given by the tax, but they're giving as an advance. So still 2020 income also counts. So the people who lose jobs here, this is the benefit for this current situation, not for the previous year. But to roll out this one, they're considering the income as a basis. But at the same time, don't worry that your income fell this year, I may lose the stimulus. But don't worry about it. When you go for a 2021, when you file 2020 taxes in 2021, you can claim that rebate.
That's a great information. I did not know that one. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, irrespective of the visa status, like H1, L1 student, everyone has an I-94. So, in this current situation, let's say that if the I-94 is expired, in this current situation, does USA give any like a grace period or something like that to extend I-94? If you take any situations.
Sure. Who's speaking, by the way?
My name is Raghu Kusarla.
Okay. Very good. Thanks for your question. So I-94 ultimately governs your stay in this country no matter what, and that's unfortunate. Once your I-94 is expired, you are considered to be out of status and unauthorized presence in the United States. At this time, there is no I-94 extension that USCIS has issued. Someone is unmuted, I think.
I have a question, Krishna. This is Hari. I want to know, like in the previous question, as you said, there is income difference from 2018 to 2019 tax filing. So what if our income increased in 2019 and 2018 is less, and 2020 is also like an increasing term, but based upon the older one, if we are not filed and we are still eligible, it is under 150K. If we get that benefit, and when we file the tax next year, if our income is not showing as less, is there anything impacted, Like we have to pay back to the tax?
Before we start this question, I think there's some noise in the background, so I was not able to finish answering Raghu's question. I think Chris also somehow is muted. Chris, can you finish answering this question? I'll go back to Raghu's question after you're done.
See, I'll answer the Hari question later. First, finish the thing what you said
Okay, sure.
About that L1 H4 I-94 extension. Okay.
Okay, sure. So, and just so everyone is on the same page, please try to mute yourself if there are things going on in the background. So it's difficult to answer the question when there's more noise in the background. So with regard to Raghu's question, at this time, there is no provision for or statement from USCIS to automatically extend I-94. So therefore, you have to file a petition extension of some sort. Say you're an H1, you have to file the petition extension or H4 extension or something of that sort to continue to be in a period of authorized stay if your I-94 has expired. And of course, you only have about 6 months after that as well before you want to hear back on that kind of a case. The American Immigration and Lawyers Association has been pushing USCIS and DHS, Department of Homeland Security, to extend I-94s, I believe, by another extra 180 days, given the current COVID situation. As you know, travel is very difficult. Even if you had to leave the country, there's really nowhere you can go. India is closed. Canada and Mexico, the borders are closed. So therefore, there's no real option but to stay in this country. To answer your question, the advocacy groups for immigration in this country are pushing for I-94 extensions. At this time, we have no update, but hopefully they will in the coming month.
Let me come to Hari's question. I'm repeating the question again so that let me know whether I understood the question or not. Hari, what is your question is, 2018, you may qualify, you are under between 150 to 190, but this year, 2019, you are not qualified because your gross income is more, and 2020 also more. And what you are saying is, since you don't file it now and you get a rebate based on 2018, that is going to affect you? That's what your question, right?
Yes, correct.
Nothing is going to affect because 1 year back, 1 year and 1 year future. The rebate is based on your income levels on 2018 or 19. They clearly said if you don't file the 2019, it is based on 2018. Later on, you file 2019 with 300K income, no matter. That doesn't matter at all.
So there is no need of paying extra to the IRS. That's what you're saying.
No, you don't need to. This is a refundable credit, so you don't need to pay anything back.
Okay, cool.
Sorry, I got it. On the same lines, I got a quick question. So let's say for 2019, I file it and I take the rebate. In 2020, I'm unemployed. Like in 2021, since I claimed, for example, $1,000, will they send the the remaining balance in 2021 when I file for 2020? How does that work?
Yes, so that has to optimize and update the forms. Since this is a refundable credit, yes to answer, but no, that we need to see what IRS forms are going to happen at the end of the year. Based on that, I can answer that one.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for organizing this. One more thing, if you can clarify a little bit more on the $100,000 that you can take if you have that money.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to come because I'm waiting for the question. Okay. See, the tax brackets wise, as I told you, the most beneficial currently is for the people who has a IRA, SEP IRA, regular IRA, 401k. Okay, 401k thing. And I'll go over each of those things. For example, IRA rollover is a primary thing. For example, you need a cash now because of the situation. There is a financial crisis is there. You want a cash now. So you can take that IRA and see, for example, what is IRA rollover? You take one IRA and put it in another IRA within a 60 days time period. Now, IRS is given, this CARES Act is giving 3-year time period. You take the money, you don't need to roll over immediately. You can keep it for 2.5 years, but you put back within 3 years time. You don't need to pay any tax for it. Okay, these kind of distributions are penalty waived. If you want to take complete cash also now, no penalty required. 10% penalty is waived. Early withdrawals, that is completely waived. Another thing is, earlier For 401k, you can take a loan of 50k or 50% of your 401k. Now that was given 100% of your rollover. I mean 100% of your 401k or up to $100,000. You can take as a loan. These are the specific CARES Act rebates for the IRS.
But these all have to be paid off within 3 years, right? These all have to be paid off.
Yes. These are all has to be paid back within 3 years to avoid the tax. For example, one of the ideas which I'm going to suggest during this session itself is, if I'm the one shrewd person who want to invest, see, all your 401ks, IRAs, if you take a withdrawal, what it is treated as a taxable one. And if you can't pay back within the 3 years time as per the CARES Act, now take that and roll over into Roth IRAs. Because now the markets are down, you can put everything in the Roth IRA and pay tax for this. Of course, tax has to be paid. And for the gains, whatever future gains is there, future withdrawals for a Roth IRA, you don't need to pay any tax for it.
So in other words, we can roll it to from and as one of the use cases, like you can roll over from regular IRA to Roth IRA, not paying the penalty 10%, but paying the taxes at this time.
Yeah.
And no need to think about paying back in 3 years or anything, because it's still in your retirement account.
Yes.
If that is the scenario, sorry, just to extend on the topic, that is the scenario I would rather roll over that. Can I roll over that after 3 years instead of rolling over now, paying taxes now?
No, you cannot roll over. Roll over after 3 years, the old rule comes like 60 days.
Got it. Before 3 years, probably. So probably I can do that in third year, before the end of the 3 year period, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Is this limited to this financial year, sir? I mean, regarding this rollover?
At present, yes.
Okay, so it could be possible I can roll over from 401k or regular IRA to Roth 401k or Roth IRA and pay the taxes and get done with it.
Yeah, get on with it. This year, because you remember like 3-4 years back when the financial situation is down, like 7-8 years back, they allowed free transition from regular to Roth IRA. That's the kind of situation.
Right. Okay. And related to the earlier discussion about salary limits, if let's say in general, if everybody, the flow is like everybody applicable is based on their filing tax returns on 2018 or 2019, and automatically it will happen. But imagine scenario from like 2018 it was higher, and 2019 it becomes lower for typical some issue happened, job change or whatever. So in that case, you are urging them to file taxes as soon as possible.
Immediately. For example, this week I filed for more than 100 people who are just near to like that. Like there are situations last year the spouse had ITIN, this year they got a SSN. Last year they got a huge income, but spouse now could not work. This year there is a less one. So I told them to file it immediately. So this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, tomorrow also we are filing this similar kind of taxpayers.
Okay, I mean, so if they are recouped back in 2020, their salary is higher and all that, it doesn't matter because they got.
Doesn't matter.
So regarding going back to my earlier question.
One second. This stimulus rebate is to give a cash for immediate need, but they're taking the basis as a 2018 income or 2019 income or 2020 income.
So if in case people who have filed in 2019 and let's say they have filed 2019, they have filed 2018, but the 2019 is higher than 2018, would they be getting it?
No.
And opposite, like let's say they file both, but their 2019 is lower than 2018, would they be getting it?
Yes.
Because that is the current situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there an eligibility to actually, get that for the withdrawal of the 401k, right? Or IRA, 100,000 you're referring to?
No, 100,000 loan, not withdrawal, loan.
Right. So for that to be eligible, do I need to be like impacted by the coronavirus or
No,
like, I mean,
it's not required. They never said it should be impacted. It is for everyone.
okay, thank you.
It's for everyone. That IRA benefits is for everyone. Because now all 50 states are in emergency, COVID health emergency. So irrespective whether you are individually affected or not is not a criteria. It is for the law for the everyone.
So not necessarily impacted by coronavirus, not even impacted by the economy, right? So it doesn't matter. Everyone.
Individual impact is not a matter here because federal government given this as a health emergency.
Just
Hey, you don't need
going
to show
back
it.
to that 401k conversion, is there a time window before that 401k has to be converted to Roth IRA, and how big is that time window?
Let me rephrase that word. You cannot convert 401k to a Roth IRA. You can roll over 401k past into regular IRA. That IRA can be Roth converted. 401k is an employer-based one. You cannot convert that into Roth. 401k, say for example, you had multiple employers previously also you had there, that you pushed into a regular IRA because you whenever you're not working, you don't need to keep the 401k with them. 401k is exclusively maintained by your employer. That cannot be rolled over. But you can take the loans 50k or 100% of the 401k balance as a loan now or 100k. That you can put it into a that loan has to be repaid back. But regular IRAs and traditional IRAs and rolled over IRAs and SEP IRAs can be converted into Roth IRA.
Got it.
Friends,
if anybody,
just a reminder. Friends, just a reminder. So we are having LATA Immigration and Tax Finance Seminar with Ramakrishna Garu and Sunil Garu from Tax File Assist Inc. and immiservice.com. I think there are a couple of ladies, maybe they're trying to ask questions. Maybe we can allow just a couple of minutes for them to ask, so then we can continue with the rest. Any ladies, you have a question, please go ahead. I think we are probably talking over each other, so you didn't get a chance. Okay, I guess not. So let's continue. Yeah.
Okay, and before going, I think I kept Sean who asked first question. I think Sunil and me, even though this is a specific question, we want to address that one. It was a long, almost half an hour plus. And what they asked is their kids' passport is expiring on May 1st, 2020, and their extensions are due, and they went for an application of passport. Is nobody is exceptional here. Everybody has a shelter at home. They don't accept applications. Even US government also not issuing any passports, not renewing anything. So only thing you can do is whenever your due is there, by that time, if you cannot get the passport, just go and apply with the world passport itself for dependent and everything. USCIS will come back to you asking for a new passport. By then, obviously, this situation will be opened up for everyone. Then you can obtain the new passport and send the documents to them. That is the solution at present.
Sure, thank you.
Okay.
I have a question. This is regarding the package. In stimulus package, I think for the sole proprietors can get up to $10,000. That's what I learned.
Pardon me? Can you please repeat that?
Yeah, the question is for the sole proprietors. Let's say LLC, and those sole proprietors can get $10,000 from the stimulus package.
One more thing on this public forum, I want to clarify. Most of the people, they thought like 10,000 is a grant, but it clearly says it is an economically impacted disaster loan. It is a loan. Remember the last word. It is a loan, not a grant. Okay, and they have a discretion of giving that loan. But 10,000, they want to give it to many people. That's what their initial impression is and their thought is. But it is too many people applied thinking that there's a grant. So there is nothing like a grant. It is a so they can apply for that grant. I mean, they can apply for the loan and they can take it. Future, they may waive that loan based on the impact. Or they may charge the interest of 1% or 2% or whatever it is based on the terms and conditions. Basically, that SBI loans are meant by some collateral. But here, without collateral, they want to give first $10,000 just to have that sole proprietor or self-compliant and some small companies to sustain to this couple of months. That's the only purpose of it.
Yeah. So now I have a follow-up question. The question is now, second question, if that person is a fully employed and also has this LLC, so do they still apply for that one? Are they eligible to apply for that one?
Yeah, again, that LLC has any other employees, or is just himself is an employee running for that one?
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase. That person is a full-time employee. He's working for X company as an employee. And on side, he has his LLC. So will that person can still be eligible to apply for that $10,000?
Eligibility to apply has everybody. As per the CARES Act, they didn't discriminated anything. But how you are using that money for what is what you should be very careful on those things. That's what, like for either PPP loan and for all my clients, I'm telling you, don't think that okay, 10,000 you got it, transfer it to your savings or checking. Don't do that one. It should be a purposeful spending, and when the proof comes to pay, you need to show that your business was impacted and you are providing some payroll or rent or leave and utilities or whatever it is. So that's the reason most of the clients I'm advising to open a secondary account, substitute account, so that this money goes there and used, and we can show the proof that it was used meant for the business. The why it is see, all these benefits are you will tick mark. Like there is a 4 or 5 marks are there in the application. Everybody tick no. The purpose is there is a column there. It is a criminal penalty, not a civil penalty. If anything, what is the meant for, the rules were meant for what it is. If you don't spend it for that and you are lying something, so you should be very careful on spending purpose. Application anybody can do.
One question on the 401k rollover that earlier we were talking about. So if your 401k is with your current employer and that's the only 401k you have, I mean, you have either transferred other 401ks from previous employers, but at the end of the day you only have one 401k with the current employer, you cannot potentially not roll over to an IRA or anything, right? Because the current company's rules apply. Usually you're working with them. And
that's right.
Yeah. Just want to make sure, like, it's not like rollover for anybody. It's only for earlier employers, but not. But regarding IRA, you can do.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
And Chris,
I have a quick question, Andy. It's ఈ నాది అంటే అకౌంట్ అమెరిట్రేడ్ లో ట్రెడిషనల్ ఐఆర్ఏ పర్సనల్ అకౌంట్ లో అమౌంట్ ఉంది. సో ఆన్ వాట్ బేసిస్, లైక్ కెన్ ఐ ఇఫ్ ఐ వాంట్ విత్డ్రా చేయొచ్చా లేకుంటే ఎట్లా?
ఇప్పుడు విత్డ్రా చేయొచ్చు అండి. మీరు ఏంటంటే ఆ అమౌంట్ విత్డ్రా చేసినప్పుడు యూజువల్ గా ఎవ్రీ ఇయర్ ఎప్పుడైనా విత్డ్రా చేస్తే 10% పెనాల్టీ అండ్ ట్యాక్స్ కట్టాలి మీరు ఆ ఇయర్ ట్యాక్సెస్. బట్ ఈ సంవత్సరం ఏంటంటే యూ కెన్ విత్డ్రా, యూ డోంట్ నీడ్ టు పే ఎనీ ట్యాక్స్. బట్ ఆ తర్వాత ట్యాక్స్ కట్టాల్సి వచ్చిన దగ్గర మీరేంటంటే విత్డ్రా చేసిన మనీకి ట్యాక్స్ ఇప్పుడు కట్టేద్దాం, మనకి వాంట్ యూజ్ ఇట్ అంటే యూ కెన్ పే ట్యాక్సెస్ నౌ. అదర్వైజ్ యూ హ్యావ్ ఎ 3 year period టు అగైన్ roll over back and put the money back into the IRA, so you don't need to pay any tax.
అది అంటే ఈ ఇయర్ లోనే వెనక్కి ఇచ్చేస్తే ఐ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ టు పే.
3 years టైం ఉంది మీకు. అది
3 years. వెరీ గుడ్. ఓకే బట్ ఐ కెన్ విత్డ్రా అండ్ ఐ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ టు టెల్ ద అంటే నేను చెప్పవసరం లేదు అంటే దట్ ఐ హ్యావ్ విత్డ్రా అని.
చెప్పవసరం లేదు.
ఓకే. అండ్ ఐఎమ్ ఏ హౌస్ అంటే హోమ్ మేకర్ ని, నేను హౌస్ వైఫ్ ని. సో నేను పే చేసేటప్పుడు ట్యాక్స్ నాది ఇండివిజువల్ అవుతుంది కదా, ఇట్స్ నాట్ ఆన్ మై హస్బెండ్స్ అకౌంట్ ఆర్ ఎనీథింగ్ లైక్ దట్. దిస్ ఇస్ మై పర్సనల్.
జాయింట్ దే అవుతుంది మీకు ఎప్పుడైనా సరే. జాయింట్ రిటర్న్స్
okay.
That's like you cannot count as separate, because if you file separately, his income becomes separate and it will be taxed at higher rate. There is no point of doing that.
Okay. So, but still I can withdraw that for my personal use, and within 3 years, if I pay it back, deposit back, I don't have to.
I don't need to. Don't pay tax.
And one more question అండి. ఈ స్టిమ్యులస్ ప్యాకేజ్ ఈవెన్ ఫర్ హోమ్ మేకర్స్ కూడా వస్తుందా అంటే ఆర్ జస్ట్ ఓన్లీ టు ద ఎంప్లాయీస్?
Yes, if you have a SSN, yes.
Okay. So directly it comes to our అంటే మన మెయిల్ బాక్స్ వచ్చేస్తుంది.
Here how you file, if it is a direct deposit, it comes as a direct deposit. Like now, for example, that is also rolled out in a phases. For example, Friday they rolled out for the people who has a income of 10,000 and less. And this Friday, coming Friday, they're going 20 and 30. And the following Friday is a 40,000. So they're going like that, phase wise.
So do I have to apply or just it's automatic?
You don't need to do anything. You don't need to do anything. Everything will be automatically comes to you. Maybe, but for the people who has a 150, 160K, they may see the refund in sometime in May and June.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
అది $500 ఒకసారి మళ్ళీ క్లారిఫై చేస్తారండి. ఆ చిల్డ్రన్ కి ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ అబౌవ్ 200K చిల్డ్రన్ ఉంటే యూ స్టిల్ గెట్ 500 అన్నది.
Yeah, children will get 500K, but again that is capped at 220.
Oh, I didn't. Okay. 220K salary ఉంటే then after that you don't get that as well. Adjusted gross income, right?
Do the children need to have the social security number or just
Yes, that is a must. Social security number and resident alien status is a must for getting that stimulus rebate.
Even for children also. So children with like India born, let's say we only have 18.
Yeah, they cannot get it.
I have a question. Indian passport అండి. సపోజ్ ఇప్పుడు ఇండియన్ పాస్పోర్ట్ ఎక్స్పైర్ అయిపోతుంది ఈ మంత్ లో, కానీ మనకి శాన్ ఫ్రాన్సిస్కోలో యాక్సెప్ట్ చేయట్లేదు రెన్యువల్ కి. సో వాళ్ళు ఎక్స్పైర్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత కూడా నేను అప్లై చేయ, లేదంటే వాళ్ళు ఇంకేమైనా ఎక్స్ట్రా డాక్యుమెంటేషన్ అడుగుతారా? ఏంటి పరిస్థితి?
అయిన తర్వాత కూడా చేసుకోవచ్చు. You don't need to worry about it. You can apply.
Okay.
That 220K limit that you have, is that for married jointly filing, or is it for if you're married and both are working? Is that 220K? Is that for
married joint filing? Is yes, for both of you.
Okay.
Chris, I'm getting some private questions actually through the chat. Some are asking about how does being furloughed or being laid off affect your H-1B status and your non-immigrant status in the U.S. So I'm going to just go over that right now.
Please go ahead.
Okay, sure. So I got a couple questions about this situation. Obviously, people are concerned with the current economy having some issues with the COVID virus and people having to work from home or employers not being able to support their payroll. Some employers are asking their employees to either be furloughed, or they are furloughing their employees, or they're simply just laying them off. Unfortunately, being furloughed, or fortunately rather, it depends how you look at it from which side. If you're furloughed, that does not exempt your employer from paying the salary that you do, that you're supposed to receive on a week-to-week or month-to-month basis. Furloughing due to coronavirus would still be considered a non-productive time, and then due to the employer's decision. So whenever the employer decides to furlough or otherwise not pay an employee for non-productive time based on the employer's own volition, then to be compliant with the Department of Labor, the employer must continue paying the salary. It's only when the employee decides to take non-productive time, such as a leave of absence for various other reasons, that the employer is exempt from those Department of Labor regulations. So if you are currently furloughed as an H-1B non-immigrant, but you're not receiving your regular paycheck, you will be considered to not be maintaining the status, H-1B status, as per how USCIS will look at it and how Department of Labor will look at it. And this obviously has serious implications for your ability to stay in H-1 status in the United States. So you must, as per the questions I'm receiving, you must continue to be paid the same amount as you already were getting paid in order to satisfy your H-1B status. If the employer wants you to take, say, like a pay cut, maybe like a part-time, maybe 20 hours a week, that would also normally require that you file a new H-1 amendment, a new LCA, and where to check the part-time box rather than the full-time box. So you simply cannot just go to part-time without having that LCA or H-1 petition being filed on your behalf. Again, AILA and other advocacy groups have asked USAS for the time being to allow people to work part-time without having to file the amendment, but they have not received any response from USAS at this time. So therefore, you have to comply with all the terms and conditions of your LCA and your H1 petition. If you are unfortunately laid off due to the coronavirus situation, you're really considered to be out of status, but you do have that 60-day grace period where you can search for another H1 employment opportunity, or you can try to go to another status such as H4, B2, F1, some other status you can try to get on during the 60-day grace period that you receive when you are laid off. But it only goes for 60 days, and by that time you have to have some sort of status in the United States, otherwise you'll be considered to be violating your period of stay in the United States after the 60 days. And that 60 days does assume that your I-94 also lasts until then. Say your I-94 is only 30 days from the day you were laid off, then you only get up to the 30 days.
I have a quick question. So let's say, like, if I have like an I-94 for 2 years, and if this situation occurs, let's say, like, if anyone got laid off, so technically, are they valid to stay like until the I-94 expired, or or it ends when it terminates, employer terminates?
So when you are laid off and you're not receiving a paycheck and you're not complying with the terms of your H1 petition, you would be considered to be not maintaining the H1B status. When exactly that USCIS finds out, like when they make that determination, obviously depends on your future petitions, but you should definitely not be, in my opinion, you should not be sitting in the United States. Just even if you're I-94 lasts 1 or 2 years, you should not just be sitting in the United States, for no reason at all, because that's going to impact your future petitions, your future green card, and so forth, right? So you have to take advantage of only that 60-day period. So even if your I-94 is 2 years on, you still have to take advantage of that 60-day period to file into another H1 position. Otherwise, you have to travel back to the home country, which obviously is not possible at this time. And or you have to file to some other status, again, B2, B1, if you have some business need to be in the United States, or if you are married to H1, then H4 status, and so forth. Chris, do you agree?
Yep. At
So
present,
one follow-up question on that.
no.
So
At present situation is like that. ESCS may come up with because a lot of ILA members are lobbying for it, and we never know that one. But until we hear directly from ESCS, it cannot be taken as a granted, because that is
yeah.
with CARES Act, because they have to come up with the situation and act on it.
So Sunil, one question, like the 60-day grace period. Suppose we are able to find an employer, but now the given situation that the USCIS is not working correctly or to the 100% thing. So once you apply for a transfer, would that receipt be sufficient enough to extend your stay lawfully beyond the 60 days?
Yes, you will qualify for the. Sorry. Yes. Once you file, it's as if you file, say, a change of employer or amendment where you're going from one work location to another. If you're still within that 60 days and your I-94 is also still valid within that 60 days following the layoff, then you can start working for that new employer, that change of employer. And you can then wait for the pending petition while working under terms of that petition until you hear back. So you are in a period of authorized stay following the filing of that petition during the 60-day period.
Thank you, Sunil. Thanks.
And just one thing that he did mention there that is important, I want to actually just briefly talk about, is the USCIS is experiencing some issues. I know most of the people who are in this call are California, it's the Los Angeles Telugu Association, but we received the reports, I think it was Friday or Thursday, that in the Vermont Center, which a lot of our cases go to because we're East Coast, they had a coronavirus case in the USCIS Center in Vermont, which is where all the East Coast H1 applications go. And because of that, for most of them at least, and because of that, they had to close that down. They're doing a cleaning until I think Wednesday. Hopefully they'll reopen. So with this current situation, things like that, they're not taking the mail now. So the same thing might happen in the other service centers such as California, Texas, Nebraska, the other H1 centers. So in fact, I actually heard some preliminary reports that I don't know if this is entirely accurate or not, but that some other attorneys I talked with attempted to deliver FedEx to the California center, I think Friday, and then the FedEx was saying non-deliverable because the gates were closed. So we have to be cognizant of the various issues that USCIS service centers might have due to the coronavirus and take that into account when you're trying to time when to file applications and so forth.
One question is like if you're trying to apply green card for your parents, and I know it's most of it like you just drop an application and they send you back a receipt. So is it suggestible to send it right now or just wait until USCIS opens back?
Yeah,
You should try.
Sunil, let me answer that one because, see, for example, we recently submitted to the applications to the green cards for citizenships to the national benefit centers. With all these national benefit centers they are very less resourceful or they are not working. So because of the coronavirus situation. So if you send it now also, you have to wait until, see, sometimes it may happen your receipt 30 days or 40 days. Because anyway, for a green card, they have to take a biometrics. All the biometric centers are closed. So I would rather advise to wait until the situation becomes better so that you will get the receipt notice within the particular time period. You don't need to wait for a long time to get that one.
But then if you get the receipt, your parents get to stay here, right? Otherwise, they have to leave right away. In case if in a month the 6 months period ends. So.
No. See, if that is a situation which you have to file, no. Once you file 485, you are good to go.
Okay.
Chris, I want to clarify with regard to. Actually, go ahead, Chris. Finish that, and I have a question for you.
No, if you apply for 485, you don't need to get a green card or fingerprinting. 485 receipt is enough for you to stay here, your parents.
Okay, thank you.
Question regarding family bonding leave benefit. Is it considered a public charge?
Pardon me?
Which benefit?
Family bonding leave benefit. In California,
that sounds like a employer benefit, right?
Yeah, employer and California state benefit. They together pay the salary for 6 weeks period.
That is not. So Sunil, what he's saying is there is a New Jersey and California. Even for H1B people also, they pay the maternity benefits and all the stuff. Only the few states are there as per the tax thing. That's not.
I'm pretty sure that's not considered a benefit for public charge purposes. You should be
anything your employer has a contribution, that is not a public charge.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Sudarshan here. Currently, I'm in this 240-day period and laid off, and my 240-day period will be completed by next month. If I cannot travel to India by next month, what will be my situation?
Okay, Sudarshan, this is a specific question, and we need to see the complete file before answering that one. So when this was filed, when this was I-94 is there. What I do is after end of the session, for LATA president, I will give you a code for a follow-up for one time, even though that is comes under attorney-client relationship. But as a courtesy, we are just going to give and listen to one question and answer that specific question. And after end of the session, as a courtesy, to help the communicate the situation, we are going to give a code to the president of LATA. You can take it from him and send me that question. Me and Sunil will analyze the situation and reply to that.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ramkrishna. We'll follow up on that.
I have a question. Yeah. So what happens to the parents? I mean, the green card holder parents staying in India in this situation and it passed 6 months and they can't come back now?
So you mean to say your parents are there, but they are a green card holder?
You're saying for future citizenship, you're talking about residency requirements for future citizenship?
No, we haven't filed anything.
No.
My mother is still on green card and she went to India and got stuck there and it passed 6 months. So what would be her situation because it passed 6 months?
That's what Sunil's question is. Your question is for your future. When they file for a future green card citizenship, they may ask the question, right? Why did you stay more than 6 months? That's what their question.
Okay, so with regard to that, So the residency requirement for citizenship, I believe it's 2.5 years of the previous 5 years. But as you are aware, the reason you're asking this question is that if there's a period more between 6 months and 1 year, or 180 days and 360 days, then there's a presumption that your mother did not maintain the residency in the United States. But that is only a presumption between the 180 and 360 days. Therefore, when you do file the citizenship application, and if USCIS sends an RFE asking about it, you can easily explain that obviously this coronavirus situation occurred and she got stuck and she's not able to come back due to the coronavirus situation. So in that case, you should be okay. In fact, these issues, the 6-month issues, we did for other applications for things that are not nearly as serious as coronavirus, and we were able to get USCIS to agree with us, and 6 months plus was not an issue. The only issue is that the 360 days is generally considered to be an absolute bar for the citizenship process. If they're past 360 days, then you don't even get a chance to explain. That being said, this is a unique situation, so I would anticipate that USCIS will have some sort of process in the future if your mother's past 360 days in India to address that as well. But as of this time, we don't know.
Yeah, that has Sunil. That has a solution. I'll explain to that for after your answer. The thing, if she is about to even cross the 365 days, I would rather say you apply for a payroll document which gives a room until 2 years. But this period, whatever she is staying in India, that period will not be counted as a residency purposes for the citizenship purposes. But you can apply for a payroll document which can be delivered in India, which biometrics can be taken in India, and that is good to, if it is approved, it is good to travel up to 2 years.
Okay, thank you.
I have a quick question. This is regarding the 401k withdrawal of 100k. Is it applies for the family, or within the family, the wife and husband can withdraw up to 200k?
This is not a withdrawal 401k. It's a 401k. You can take a loan. You cannot withdraw 401k loan. Is for each spouse 100k or 100% of the 401k balance with the employer.
Got it.
Whichever is higher. Sorry, whichever is smaller.
I have a question. This is Hari. That 100k I'm trying to withdraw. It's saying that $10,000, 10% will be taken by the Fed tax and $1,000 as a California tax. I don't know why it is saying that.
The tax is, you should not do it online. You should talk to your administrator for that and ask them to waive that one, because the 10% penalty waiver just came into that one. Maybe their software not yet updated that one. Don't believe on the softwares in these things. Believe on the professionals who is handling your taxes.
Okay, thank you. And one more question. I heard that somebody is asking self payroll. I heard that there is another application, PPP, payroll protection, and which will be given as a grant. So I didn't hear anything about that.
Sir, I'm telling you, there is no grant. I'm particularly stressing again. There is no grant. See, these are all our tax money. The free money is only 1200. This is a grant. And even that loan, whatever the PPP also term is a loan. Economic disaster loan is a loan. PPP also loan, but waivable if you produce a proof that you use that money to run the payroll for your employees of business, and 75% of it, and 25% for the lease, utilities and all. If you prove that, that can be waivable. Otherwise, it has to be paid back within 2 years' time with 1% interest.
Yes, my question is, say if self-employed, only one person is the company, that's our company, self-employed, and somebody's asked that one. Can we run our payroll?
Yeah, self-employed also runs a payroll. No, otherwise you take self-employed means what it is. Like, for example, I tell you, last year there is one single member company is there. He didn't run the payroll, but he get a 1099 from his own company. 1099 is also called a self-employed. For example, if you have a 60k 1099 from last year, that means you are getting a $5,000 in income per month, which can be proved, and you can apply 5,000 into 2.5 times as a PPP loan. And then this year you have to show that that money is spent to run the payroll for that a single person, either you or somebody else.
So that will be a grant. I mean, that will give as a grant if we run as a payroll.
See, again, I don't use the grant word because grant is something which is different. The waiving is at the discretion of a small business administration. You may get the business waiver, you might not get. Once you apply, application, a loan is one process. After that, there is a waiver process is there. For that waiver, SBI will handle. If they waive it, you are good. You don't need to pay the money to the lender. If they don't waive it, you have to pay that money with 1%.
Do you need to apply for the waiver, or they will determine it automatically based on the?
Pardon me?
We need to apply for the waiver, or will they be?
No. See, there is nothing like now there was no application for the waiver. Now I'll tell you for the small businesses there are two things. One is the economical impacted disaster loan, and second is PPP, Paycheck Protection Program. Both are loans only. Once you apply for loan, you can opt for either of it. You cannot take both the things.
Oh, we cannot take both.
Well, you cannot take both. That was clearly mentioned in the application. They ask you question because you are applying both separately. You will answer no now. But once you get that one, you have to choose which one is the best for you. And once you choose that one, they might waive your grant. They might waive your EIDL 10,000 in future based on certain circumstances. Otherwise, for PPP, they are clearly laid out what is waiver. After June 30th, you have to send the proofs that this May and June you paid the existing employees, the payroll and existing rents and existing utilities as a separate sheet. Show it to them. Sir, this was the amount which I took it. I used for the keeping my people returning to employees. Then they will waive it. If it is for you, there is nothing like retainer. No, you are only the employer.
Okay, I have a question, Ramkrishna. This is Ranga. Ramkrishna, actually, we are filing my elder son as a dependent until last year, and we are also filing his taxes because he's also earning it money. So, but this year, because of that, because he's a dependent, I heard that the $500 is not going to come because he's a dependent and having his own income, right?
No, that's not like that. This $500 depends on the age. 17 and under will get $500.
Okay.
17 and under. And if your son is your kid is 17 and above, you can't get that one. And while filing, even though he has income, you can file separately for his income. But if you still he can be a dependent on you and your tax return.
Okay, but for this year, he's of course he's already not under 17. He's older than 17. But
there's no point of asking because if they file it, they'll get it by themselves.
But if he files it, but I cannot file him as a dependent, right? If he files,
yes, you cannot.
But I think am I going to lose that some college fund? And you see, we are paying the college fees, right? There is some credit, $2,500 something we get.
That is again depends on your specific income and all. Based on that, I can review and tell which is the best because it's not a generic one. It just depends on situation. What is your son's income? What the taxes withheld? What is the benefit is getting? And if you file along with you, how much you are going to say. For example, if your income is more than 180K, anyway you don't get that education credit. If your income is low, only you can tell that. So there is a various scenarios are there. If you can, as I told you earlier, if you can shoot me a specifics of that one, not in this forum, I can answer you that specific question by email.
Okay.
This is Ravi Andy. So I have a quick question. So with respect to the payroll protection plan, right? So if you have employees and if we wanted to keep them, is there a specific time that I need to keep them?
Yeah, until June 30th, end of June 30th.
Okay. Yeah, because these people are got employed only for a specific customer, and unfortunately, that customer closed all our contracts.
That's what. So, and not only that, for example, you have 3 people now, okay, and all 3 are gone by March 31st. They're taking payroll until February 15th only. But after maybe once situation is done, you recruited another 3 people. You can show that as a 3 people count.
Got it. Okay. And another question on that, Andy. So I have, let's say, like some retained earnings in the, the accounts, right? So they should not be looking at that to pay the payroll.
See, there are people who has $1 million in their retained earnings. That's not a question at all.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
One question. This is Hari, Andy. I
Hari
have.
garu, 1 second, Andy. I'll just announce something.
Yeah.
Friends, just a reminder. So this is Los Angeles Telugu Association doing an online seminar on immigration, tax, and the CARES Act, basically. And we have with us Ramakrishna Garu and Sunil Vemuru from IMMI Service, immiservice.com and Tax File Assist Inc. So if you have any questions or you want to know more about their services, go to their websites. And also, I want to do a quick check on the time. Ramakrishna Garu and Sunil Garu, are you okay with continuing for maybe, I'm thinking maybe at least 20 minutes, I think. There are still a lot of people on the call, so just checking.
Yes, we're fine for now.
That's fine.
Okay.
And then Chris,
and after Hari is done,
sorry,
can we,
before we,
Hari is trying to ask a question, and
1 second.
after he's done, just pause for a few seconds and see if any ladies want to ask questions. Then
1 second. Sunil is saying something. Sunil, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, we'll get to Hari's question in a second here. I just have one question from Chris. A couple of people are messaging me. The stimulus package money, the CARES Act recovery rebate, that is a direct deposit if you file tax return as direct deposit. Is that correct?
No, pardon me?
How do you get the CARES rebate, the stimulus
package?
Yeah,
if you file last 2 years, if you filed as a direct deposit, you will get as a direct deposit. If by any chance, if you got the check, it will come as a check, but still, if you don't want that check to be delayed, they are opening up a website link where you can update your bank details online. I think maybe sooner, like today or tomorrow, they're going to open the website. You can go online and update your bank details so that they'll do the direct deposit.
And so the direct deposits are currently going out. I think this is the first week, but I believe it is only going for the lowest income bracket in the United States. So you won't be seeing that maybe until several weeks from now or onwards, maybe even May for some of you, or many of you actually, before you see that rebate.
Who are 150 to 190, they may get like maybe in July also.
Okay, sorry about the interruption. Hari, you can go ahead with your question.
Sure, thank you. I have a question. Like, I have an employee, like in a company. I have a company that's consulting company. I have an employee. They filed for this H1 2020, and at the time we are filing, he has a project, but with this COVID situation, he lost his project. So, but his application got picked up. So, what is his situation like? For submitting H1B application, what is the options we can do as an employer for this employee?
So does he have valid I-94, and is he within 60 days of the original?
Yes. He has the current status, but his H1 got picked up, and the thing is, like, if he finishes by May 30 or June, he finishes as the OPD status, and that's why the H1 got picked up. So we have to submit the documentation with his job. So what if we cannot get another project for him? Is we have to ask the consultant to get another admission for the university, even though he got H1 picked up.
Okay, so I believe the current project that he's working on for OPT is the same project that his H1 got picked up for, and that project's going to end on May 30th. Then the H1, the cap H1 that you got picked up for would consider to not be valid because the work has to exist starting on October 1st, or whichever date that you put in the petition, the cap petition, or it should be, there was no cap petition yet, unlike last few years. But that project should exist as of October 1st, essentially, or whenever you file for that start date, because you can't file a start date until October 1st or later. So you're saying that project's not going to exist on October 1st?
No. For example, the existing consultant who already have a project, so using that we have filed like this change of status. He's already in the project, so we filed in the same location. Like this year we have the change the process. We just enrolled, and the lottery process is done. He got the lottery picked up. But the time of we are about to send the application, the documentation, he lost his job.
Okay, so but he lost his job from the current employer, but the project itself is still available?
No.
Sunil, the current question is it is related to CAP question, not the regular H1B extension. CAP selection, they got a CAP selection, but now the project is
okay. I see. And actually, okay, I see this. And actually, this would mean, because this is a new process this year, we don't know quite how it'll work out. But this is actually a situation where maybe the new process is helpful in this case, because in the past, say he lost his job after the April 1st, you know, when we filed the H1s for the CAP. So he lost that project. Then you would not be able to prove that the job existed as of April 1st from the start October 1st. However, under the new situation here, where you get to file the CAP petition after the lottery selection, you will probably be able to, and again, this is a new process this year, so we have 100%, I'm not sure, we have to double check and verify. You'll probably be able to file a petition for any new project that you get for him. And then that should be valid starting October 1st. So if you find a new project for him, and he's able to start that, you know, October 1st, and I think you should be okay.
But the documentation, what we need to send is before June 30th, right? So is there any time that they can get an extension time for that? Or that is not yet updated from USCIS?
No, you need to, as of now, you only have the 90 days to file. So by whatever date you filed, the day that you file, say it's a May 1st or June 1st or June 30th, there has to be some sort of a project documentation showing that there is some work for him to do starting October 1st of 2020. So by that time, you have to find something. In the past, it had to have been April 1st, the day that you filed the lottery petition, right? Because we used to have to send the physical petitions themselves, and from that point on, you had to prove that the project existed. You couldn't just get a project, you know, in the summer or something like that, right? So at this time, whenever you file this petition within the next 90 days, there has to be some sort of project for him to do starting October 1st.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question. This is on behalf of F1 students. Believe, let's say if there's an F1 student who lost his on-campus job because of this COVID. And what we learned is recently the USCIS has released a note that the F1 students can apply for a work permit to work outside the campus. Is that a true statement?
So he's working like a on-campus job, and that was gone?
Yes, exactly. So he got an SSN, and then he's an on-campus job, and he lost on-campus job. And can this F1 student apply for EAD to work outside the campus?
For EAD, it would have to be a OPT or CPT situation. So you're saying this is not OPT or CPT?
Yeah, it is not. It's neither OPT nor CPT.
It just simply some sort of, then what would the, okay. I'm actually not familiar with the permit that's outside the CPT, OPT. Usually it has to relate to the curriculum if you want to work outside the campus. However, you know, Chris and I don't know if, Chris, are you aware of such a thing?
Sunil, the question from Chinna is not that there was a statement from USCIS that if they lose a job at campus, they can work out of campus. That's the question, right, Chinagaru?
Yes, something like that. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
That was not updated to us. That might be a rumor, but unless until we see that in USCIS website, you cannot confirm that one.
Okay.
Do you have a sort of link or something? We can take a look into it and get back to you after this conversation. I would be interested in seeing that, actually.
Yes.
Hey, Sunil, this is Ravi. I have a question on a particular situation. We had a H1 guy who got transferred to our company for a particular project, and we applied in premium processing. And the guy has worked at the client for like a month, and then with the COVID situation, everything closed. And now we got an RFE on that. And RFE, all they're asking is like, you know, some educational evaluation, and that need to be included. So how is that considered? So because now he doesn't have the client, so can I go ahead and still complete the RFE? And we are also trying to find a new job for him. Is that considered to be okay, or how is that looked at, Sunil?
Sunil,
kind of. Go ahead.
This is a specific question, Ravi Garu, and we can briefly tell, but no, all these specific questions are linked to the what is the RFE, when did you send it, when do you got the PO, what do you send with the documentation. If you don't see the file, the answer what we see is very vague, either Sunil and me. So it is better, as I said in the this thing, one follow-up question which is related to the COVID-19 situation will be answered, even though that is meant as an attorney-client relation, is a courtesy for this discussion extension. We are going to reply to that one and shoot us an email with the specific details, because we may ask you some more details which are not good to discuss that in this kind of a platform. So let us discuss that in email, then we'll give you the exact answer.
Yes, as Chris is saying, it's best to we'll talk more directly, because we have to understand the real facts of this case before we can answer something like that, and that's better done in the direct communication setting.
Got it, Andy. Thank you.
Hey Sunil, this is Bharat. I heard you saying that to maintain the status, if you lost the job in H1, you can convert it to B2 or B1, right? So within what time frame, when you are in B1 or B2, you have to have the job back so that you can come back to H1?
So you can convert to so there's that 60-day grace period after the laying off, following the H1 layoff. So the day that your H1 expires, you have 60 more days to find another job or to convert to some other non-immigrant status, such as B2, F1, and so forth. And then while that is pending, because of course I don't believe that would be processed with the current situation in any reasonable amount of time. But Chris can also confirm, but you'd be still under the authorized stay when you're trying to change the status, right, to the B2. And then say that during that period, the H1 job comes back or this whole COVID situation is gone, then you can change the status. Maybe you typically would be able to change the status again to H1. If not, then hopefully by that point, the travel restrictions are not there anymore. That simply going out and in would also be possible as well, if you're able to get the H1 again.
Okay, but still I can be able to search for a job even though I'm on B1 or B2?
So B2 is for like a leisure, and B1 is obviously for economic opportunities. I think,
but no, you can't work immediately. You can only work after getting the approval.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's in that situation. If you go from where the continuous work, because I believe someone asked us about this earlier, the continuous work is from when you're laid off on H1 within the 60 days. If you find another H1 employer, then you can work continuously. But if you go from H1 to filing some other change of status, like a B2, and then from B2 you try to file H1 again, I believe in that situation, no, that would not chain the 60-day grace period for you to be able to work upon filing the petition. You would have to get the approval notice, or through the consular process, you have to go and come back into the country under H1 visa to work again.
Okay, thank you.
Regarding that, is severance pay period considered valid if you got laid off and companies paying?
Yeah, so with that one, yeah, so I think that is like a as I'm aware, that there is like a period in California where you get that 60 days of, they have to notify you 60 days before laying off, and then you get that extra 2 months. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
So to my knowledge, that does actually, you are considered to be employed. And again, unfortunately, I'm not a California-based attorney. We're more familiar with the Mid-Atlantic, like DC area, New York, New Jersey, Texas kind of thing. But as per my knowledge, I believe that does count as being technically still employed when you are on that severance period of 60 days as mandated by California. And then you get the 60 days after your severance period ends, you get that 60-day grace period. That is, again, what I believe, but please, you may want to consult with your employer's attorney or someone more familiar with the California rules. But I believe, yes, you do get essentially 120 days then in California to do that rule.
Definitely. Thank you.
I have another one question. So this is Jay. So there is a situation where we have applied for a extension, H1 extension, and the 240-day mark is coming soon on the petition. No decision has been made on the basically the H1 extension is still in process, and the 240-day mark is coming soon, and but the guy has still the project, has the project and everything. What are the options that does he have to continue? Does he have like to continue working? I know that there is a rule that's saying that after 240 days he has to stop working, but he can legally stay in the US.
Who is this, Sandy? Who is this?
This is Jay.
This is Jay. Yeah, Jay, this is just now we told, this is specific instant cases. Like, no, there are a few more other questions related to case we need to know before answering that. So probably we recommend you to directly email us so that we can ask those questions or clarify those questions and then reply to that one. It's not just
as a generic answer. After 240 days, he has to stop working. But we have to look at the case specifically to understand what is going on. So if you could talk to us more directly, again, like Chris said, there'll be some sort of communications where you can send to us, where you can look at the facts more closely and answer it. But as a generic answer, after 240 days, there's no work that can be possibly performed anymore.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Sunil Garu or Ramakrishna Garu. My name is Manoj Dadi. I had a job and it ended 90 days back. So can I still apply for the unemployment benefit?
Unemployment benefits, are you on EAD or H1?
I'm a citizen of the United States.
As a citizen of the United States, you are considered to be ready and able to work at any time. So you qualify for the unemployment benefits of your state.
Okay, even if it's after 90 days? Like I didn't apply for it. I know I have to apply for the unemployment benefit within the 90-day period, but I didn't. So is it still fine that I apply for the unemployment benefit? Will I receive the benefits?
Which state you are in? Basically, there are some states which were extended it. So basically, in this situation, you can apply now. Which state you are in? California?
Yeah, that actually brings me to my next question. My consultancy that hired me is from Iowa, but my employer was from state of Wisconsin.
No, here clarification. Consultancy or client is in Wisconsin, client is in Iowa.
The client is in Wisconsin.
Where did your employer run the paycheck?
The employer ran the paycheck from state of Iowa.
So then you have to apply only in state of Iowa only. You cannot apply from California.
Okay. Okay.
You'll have to contact. Yeah. So like a lot of the states, because of the current situation, they are relaxing some of these criteria to apply for the unemployment benefits. So you'll have to contact the Iowa employment department, the equivalent to the EDD in Iowa. I don't know what it's called, but the similar equivalent to them, and you have to ask them about these kinds of situations. But they are relaxing some of these requirements. Some states at least.
Can I get your phone number and email, Sunil Garu?
Yeah, Mr. Rama, this we're going to pass on the information to Atluri Garu, and he will email you, or we will we'll chart us in the email so that we can exchange email. But any questions?
But I would say, that's getting, so it'll be a little more specific. And I will say that, unfortunately, something like Iowa, we don't have that much familiarity with. So, but we can try and see in a more direct line of communication if we have any answer, or maybe someone else who's more familiar, maybe you're from Iowa, is able to help you with that.
Okay. Can I have your email or phone number, Sunil Garu?
That'll be after this session, as Chris mentioned about.
Okay, then I'll ask at the end.
Send me a chat, we'll share that one. Okay. Okay, then what I do is okay, 1 second. You are Rama, right?
Yes. My name is Manoj. I'm the son of I'm the son of Rama Garu. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and also Ramakrishna Garu, just want to do a time check. This is a really very good response from the community. I still see the same count, which is still 84 on the call. So do you want?
let us take a like no. I know that there are 80 people out there. Instead of going for a 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and let us somebody whoever if they want to voice over or chat, just give us a 2 to 3 minutes and send us a chat question so that we can start answering it so that we know the timeline.
I think we have 115.
Pardon me?
I see 115 people.
Yeah, that's what. Like, no, whoever want to, because even I think not only for Lata, even a lot of my clients also joined, I suppose, like because I sent to the clients in California area. Okay, anyway, that's not a problem. But whoever give us like 5 minutes just to grab a coffee or water. Meanwhile, whoever has a questions, send us a chat messages, and then we will extend another like maybe we'll close at 4 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah. So what he's saying is, please go ahead and type maybe a question in chat, and then we'll go from the top where we have not answered yet.
Go from the top and
now we can go one by one very fast.
PST. Okay.
Yeah, 1 PST. Yes.
Yep. Okay. Give us like a couple of minutes time.
Hey Chinna, this is Surya. In the meantime, Chinna, you or Sriyari, can you post an annotation on your screens so that all the registered participants here can post a message on the chat? If someone is joining now, they would know that they have to put a question in the chat window.
I see, Surya, what you're saying.
Yeah.
Even I see a few people dropping off.
Chinna, just keep talking, and there will be kind of joining in 2 minutes.
Okay. Hey guys, I think yeah, Ramkrishna and Sunil just took a break for 2 minutes. They'll be joining the session soon in next 2 to 3 minutes. If you have any questions, please post your questions in the chat window, and all these questions will be answered from first come first priority. Pretty much we'll start answering those questions from the top. Yeah, lots of questions.
Chinna, if there are any repeat questions, see like if you wanted to filter it out.
Yeah, I'm assuming that, yeah, I think he's just back. Ramkrishna, he's just back.
Okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah. So he's doing those questions. I think he's going to answer soon. Yeah, we definitely see and look on the questions.
Prashant Kumar Naredla, you asked the question like H1B visa holders without economical impact are eligible for stimulus package. Yes, the stimulus package is not relevant to whether you are affected or not affected, whether you are H1B or something else, but you need to have a SSN and you should be a resident alien. Those are the only 2 conditions, and you will get the stimulus check of $1,200 per adult. And there is another car. Can H1B dependent company, Venkata Datla, H1B dependent company apply for PPP loan? If applied, they got the loan amount, can they use for H1B employees payroll for or only citizens, GC and EAD employees? Okay, it's a very, very, very good question, and particularly at present, CARES Act does not differentiate anything H1B dependent or not. But as I said in my earlier discussion, PPP can be applied by any company, irrespective of whether H1B dependent or GC or EAD. But how you are using, when you apply for waiver, it is very important. If you use and get the waiver for the money which you paid for H1Bs, that may impact your H1B filings for the future. That was not clear, because that will be clearly as a benefit you used for the H1Bs where you promise that you are paying them until the expiry of your labor condition application. So that is a good one. But what I'm saying is, when you apply, if you got a loan, treat that as a separately, use that separately. And when you apply for waiver, apply the waiver for GC and EAD people, not for H1B people, so that it won't impact your business, because H1B dependent employers' core business is H1Bs. If you had any benefit taken, and if your H1B is linked to that one in future, your businesses will be ineffective. I mean, it will affect drastically. So, Mr. Venkata Datla, keep that money as a subsidiary account, use it for the payroll. But when you go for a waiver, at present situation, I'm telling, whether you get a waiver or not is up to the discretion of SBI, and they may inquire about who is that, who is this, and all the stuff. But as per the CARES Act, this money, either CARES money or whatever it is, they're meant for the people of US citizens, resident aliens. Hope, Venkata, hope you got my clarity of the question for you. Hello? Hello?
I think.
Yeah, he's probably on mute. I think that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, we can move on with the next questions. Yeah.
Okay. The 240-day rule start from the date of application for extension or current H1B expiration. Current I-94 expiration, Ram Chettupalli garu.
Thank you, Ram.
And Chalapati, can you provide a quick recap as we wait for the presenters?
Chalapati, there is a recording. I believe this is being recorded, correct, Chinna?
Yeah, Chalapati, there is a recording. You go over the things. That is a better option rather than we recap the things. And Pavitram Sridhar, if you don't file 2019 tax returns, I had they sent stimulus package based on to them. But if you have less income in 2000, see, that's what Pavitram Sridhar, I explained. Either if you have a 2018, don't file 2019 tax returns. Get the things done. Like once you get the stimulus, then you file it. You don't need to pay back this money, even though your income is more in 2019.
So essentially, the strategy, if your 2018 is less income than 2019, is to just wait until you see that stimulus check in your bank account or you receive the physical check, then file your 2019 tax returns. If the opposite is true, say your 2019 income is actually less than your 2018 income, it is in your best interest to actually file your 2019 tax returns as soon as possible so you can qualify for the larger check you would get for being lower income in 2019 than 2018.
And the next question, Mr. Ravi, what is the rate? What is the process of rolling over traditional IRA to Roth IRA? You can contact your traditional IRA administrator. It is very easy. They can do it. And but only is you have to pay tax for the whatever the traditional IRA leftover thing immediately to convert into the IRA.
The thing with this IRA now, and I believe Chris, you can correct me on this, is that in the current situation with the economy, as you see in the stock market itself is very much down, right? So if the value of it when you're converting to the Roth IRA will probably be the lowest it will ever be. So therefore the taxes themselves will probably be the lowest you will ever pay on this until the economy rebounds. Is that correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
And what is the rate of interest? Mr. Ravi is asking what is the rate of interest on the loan that we can take from 401k? See, it is again depends on the 401k administrator. They will have a rate of interest specifically for the personal loans. That you need to contact your 401k administrator, whoever it is, or plan administrator. So they will be a better. They will tell you the better exact things.
And with regard to Surender's question, I just answered. I want to qualify that I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't predict what the stock market will do in the future or how the economy will rebound. The presumption, like just as a casual observer, is that it will. This is going to be the lowest it's going to get, and it should rebound once the country opens up. But again, I can't predict that kind of a market trend, right? So if the economy goes even further down, then obviously the value will go down even more.
I understand. The reason I asked the question is earlier you mentioned there was a tax waiver because of COVID. If we migrate traditional to Roth, right? That's the reason I asked.
Tax waiver means penalty waiver.
Penalty waiver. I see.
Penalty waiver. Tax always you have to pay, but this is the time you can grab and convert that for regular to Roth IRS. This was happened like a few years ago when there was a crisis when recession is there during the Obama administration, it was they have given the option like that. This is a similar option. And there is another thing somebody asked me. I think that's one of the thing. One particularly state of Texas, taxes, Illinois. I think I need to check the Illinois whether most of the states were extended their deadlines. I need to check the Illinois and then I'll come back to you in a minute for the side. And Suresh, I think he's asked the valid question which I was missed to explain out of these questions. That is can you please explain on 529 funding investment which you mentioned at the beginning of the meeting? Yes, this is a very good question which everybody will have a benefit of it. See, 529, the front loading of 529. Now currently markets are doing low, and I mean, of course, not current today, but maybe in next couple of months, everybody's saying that recession is coming. That's of course the financial people saying, not my saying. Okay, and this time you can front load 529 with a lower when the stocks are low, when the mutual funds are low. That means like you are eligible as per the tax law. You can fund your kids' education, front load it up to 75,000 without affecting a lifetime gift imposition, because every year you can gift 15K to your kid without getting into the lifetime one. Like that, you can go 5 years, up to 5 years, you can 75K. It won't impact your lifetime gift in the future. If you don't want to gift, if you want to gift your kids, it won't affect your gift tax. So without affecting that, you can front load up to 75K from each of you, each spouse. You and your spouse can do that for 75K at this market level, so that whatever the growth and utilize it for medical, health, educational things, you don't need to pay any tax for it.
Thank you, Ramkrishna.
Okay, Anusha Atluri. My OPT-AD ends in July. My H-1B did not pick up this year. My company was supposed to file for Canada work visa to continue work in the office there. Global visa offices are shut because of the COVID situation. Are there any guidelines? Okay, Anusha, this is a very specific question, definitely which involves, and definitely we are going to review that and get back to you. But please email us, and I'm sending you our email ID, and get the special code given to LATA president, so that this will be a follow-up discussion only, and we will answer that one. Okay, Anusha, I'm just replying to that and sending our email IDs.
Okay, I see RP, I think, before Anusha's question, if a 2019 joint filer whose income is less than 220K has 2 children, will filer get $1,000 because of having 2 children?
No. Yeah, as I told, 220, it will cap out.
But the children, though, if they have the SSN, do they get the child credit, though? They won't get the stimulus, but do the children get the stimulus?
No, children also, like, no, for example, 199, adults will be phased out. Every $1,000, $50 will phase out. See, 1,200, 1,224 will be phased out by 199. And another 1,000, 500 will be phased out by 220.
How about their filing separately, not jointly?
Even if you file separately, that phase out will start from 99,000 itself.
Okay.
Ramgaru?
Yeah.
Ramgaru, is the stimulus check eligibility for all the H-1B holders also? Because they say it's eligible for all the taxpayers.
It was not related to H-1B. H-1B is also eligible. And only thing is they should have a SSN, they should be a resident alien.
Ramkrishna, what about head of household?
You can file head of household, but head of household situations are completely different. You need to be separately living from spouse, and you need to prove that. There are a lot of other things are there in the tax treaty, where you have to provide that. Head of household filing is not for everyone. For the people
No, I'm a single mom, and I can do that, right?
Yeah, you can do that. If you're a single mom, yes, you can do that. Definitely, yes.
Ramkrishna Garu, adjustable gross income, is that what we have to look at?
Yes, adjustable gross income is what you have to look at.
Thank you.
After deducting IRA eligibility and everything, whatever there in the ACI, it is the main.
I think Chandra Mohan asking a question. If a person loses a job but can't find another job in 3 months, you said we can convert to B2, B1. But to file B2 or B1, we also require some job or employer to file this. So first, you want to look for the job within the 60-day grace period. So if you are laid off, there's a 60-day grace period per validity period, per H-1B granting, for you to look for another job. If in that time you think you're not going to be able to find another H1 job, then you will either have to leave the country, which is not possible right now, obviously, with the current travel restrictions, or you will have to find some way to get onto some other kind of a status. So B2 is a visitor visa, and whether or not USCIS grants the status, obviously, each one has their own application, right? So yeah, they have to be convinced by your request for the B2 or F1 or H4 or so forth. So B2 is visitor visa, so the employer does not file a B2 visa. The B1 is also like is also a visitor visa, but for the business purposes. Say you can come up with some way to explain that you have to close a transaction in the United States or some sort of other economic opportunity that you're looking for in the United States. Then you can file the B1 visa. However, this is just a general advice. The actual strategy in converting to these visas is going to be dependent on how you file the application or how your immigration attorney files the application. So please don't take it as if we're explaining how to file the best way to convince the USCIS to approve the application if you were to take that route in the first place.
Yeah, and I'm taking next question. Anand Karnati, am I eligible to fund 529 for the kids being on H1B? Yes, sir. Everybody is eligible to fund the 529. That the education fund, it can be used list for your kids. Yes. I mean, it's not.
Ram garu question andi. Ram garu question andi.
Evarandi?
Actually, there is a application that we have done on a B2 and we have received a receipt, but we didn't receive the fingerprinting the notice. As all the fingerprinting centers are closed, will they be assessing the extension application on B2, for which we already have a receipt, based on the last 6 months old fingerprinting that we have done in California?
And for the visitor visa, you are saying, Andy?
That's Andy. That's right, B2.
Yeah, the B2, they'll give before approval, they'll again check it, and it is not that they'll approve based on 6 months back, but sometimes they may take it because it is less than 1 year old, but you have to wait until they open up and they send you the notice in regard to that.
Say the visa is expiring, say for example in May first week, and then how long
still
we are
good, still you are good. If you have a receipt, you are good.
How long after the expiry date are we good, Andy?
Until you get a denial.
Okay, they have to reply. Till that we can wait. Okay.
Yes, that's what. Until denial means, why I use the denial means only if you denied, you have to go out of country immediately. If you get approval, it will be extended from the date of his expiry.
Okay, it can take even 6 more months after that. Also, there is no concern
yes. Yeah. And the only thing that time problem comes is when they come back after like couple of years, 1 year, port of entry person may ask you why you stayed this much. They have to show the receipt notice and explain the situation why they have stayed until then.
Okay, that's right. So thank you. And one more question,
sir. Be a simple way to
the
explain.
Employer wants to reduce the pay for the employee, and he is on currently in H1B, and I know it is minimum 40 hours he need to work, and he has to give the salary as per the labor certification. Now with this situation of COVID, they want to reduce the salary. So how will that impact the H1B renewal when we go for renewal next time?
See, any reduction of this thing should not be less than the labor condition application as per that one. But it is again, as Sunil said again, it depends on attorney to attorney, office to law office, how that employer's attorney explains the situation.
Okay.
So what he's saying is that you have to, in a subsequent extension, really actually it might even be an amendment, because if you lower it, an extension is supposed to be continuing the previous H1B without any material change. What does it mean, material change?
No, the reason why they want to reduce the salary is because the businesses are bad and they want to continue with the same status, but only on the value of the salary.
Let Sunil complete the answer. Let Sunil complete. He's going to come back. That's all.
Sure. Sorry.
Yeah. So unfortunately, material change is not explicitly defined by the USCIS. They just use that word in the Insimeo Solutions case. Because of that, a reduction in salary, if it's a small amount, it should be okay. But if it gets to a certain point, and again, there's no specific definition on this, But after a certain point, it may be considered to be a material change by USCIS, and they may then ask, why are you reducing so much? Why did you file extension? You should have filed amendment instead. So like that, yeah, your attorney will have to decide whether or not extension or amendment is appropriate. And secondly, if USCIS is asking why are you taking so much, giving them so much less money, then an attorney has to explain in that way that you just explained, that obviously with the COVID-19 outbreak, the economy, there's some issues here, right? And then they'll have to justify then why you're paying this person so much less money. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the USCIS's job is to make sure that you're not paying much less than, say, the qualified US worker, right? So like that, the attorney has to explain, or if you're sending the application or petition rather, then you have to explain and justify it to the USCIS. So just to recap, that's a two-part question. First, you have to decide, should I file amendment or extension? Because extension is not supposed to be any material change. And second is you have to figure out how you're going to respond to RFE. The specific strategies to explain like that, as Chris has said, we can't really give over the public, like this kind of situation, right? So that's up to the attorney to kind of craft the legal arguments for why that's justified.
Okay. You just mentioned regarding an adjustment, sir. What do you mean by adjustment? Means if you are, you have to say, change it to a part-time, reducing it less than 40
so if you
hours
want to go,
for the time.
By adjustment, I said amendment, or unless someone else was saying adjust. I meant amendment, right? So you want to amend this. So say you wanted to go from one work location to another client location, right? You file amendment for that, correct? For one city to the other. Same thing if you want to go from full-time to part-time, even for the same job, you will likely have to file the amendment. That wouldn't be considered an extension because you're significantly and materially changing the terms and conditions of the previous H1 application, right? Or petition, because you're going from full-time to part-time, say 40 hours to 20 hours. In that case, an amendment would likely be needed rather than the extension. It's just a box that you check in the on the page 2 of the I-129 petition. So you will be asking for amendment in that case, and you need an LCA supporting that amendment too.
Will that be acceptable by USCIS that you are trying to reduce 40 hours to less than 40 hours just because you have to pay him less? Is that a valid reason for them to accept?
In theory, it should be a valid reason. If there are changes that happen that only a part-time job is now available for that specialty worker, they should accept. But again, it's going to come down to that specific USCIS officer who sees that case. He's going to be the one that has to decide, and you have to be the one that convinces him or her why the change was made. And obviously, as you know, in this situation, hopefully you would think there'll be more understanding, right? And say this COVID-19 didn't happen, so you were just trying to make it a part-time just like that. Even in those situations, they have accepted it. So you would think even in this current unprecedented situation, then they would definitely accept it. But again, I'm not the guy sitting in that California Service Center who's deciding this case, right? So ultimately it's up to him and how we would convince him otherwise.
Thank you. Okay, can this be reverted back when the situation gets better from the part-time back to a full-time, please? Will that be acceptable by you?
Yes, but you need to then file the amendment. You have to file the amendment again if you wanted to go back from part-time to full-time with the LCA that says full-time as well.
I believe all this has to be done by the employer, right? Not the employees.
Yes, this is all through the filing of the Form I-129 petition, which is the one that you filed for H-1B along with other L-1 and other non-immigrant statuses. This is all done by the employer and the employer's attorney.
I see. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
I think
while we are on the topic, could you please throw some light on the furloughs as well? I think it's all related, right?
Sorry, follow up on what?
Could you please throw some light on the furloughs?
They want to listen
furloughs?
Furloughs, yes.
Yes,
okay,
please.
so I did discuss furloughs earlier for a little bit. So the furloughs,
sorry, I did miss.
The Department of Labor's position is that while the employee is furloughed, that's considered to be a non-productive time. And by non-productive time, if the non-productive time is done because of the employee's choice, say, such as a leave of absence or so forth, then the employer does not have to pay the salary. But if the non-productive time is due to the employer's choice, and that includes this COVID-19 outbreak, if the employer has to shut down, even if it's technically out of their control because of the businesses closing and so forth, it is still, the DOL is still at this time considering it as being the employer's, not as, like, fault is the wrong word, but essentially it's the employer's issue as to why the business is closed. So even if they are furloughed, they still have to be paid the salary that's in full compliance with the LCA and the petition for that employee to be considered maintaining the H-1B status. If they do not get paid that salary, then the USCIS in the future extension or amendment will ask, why didn't you maintain status? Why didn't you pay the proper rate, right? And they'll be considered to be out of status. So the employees still, and then on top of that, if the employees are not being paid that full amount, then they have the claim against the state and the labor commission, right, for back wages and so forth. So as of now, without further guidance from DOL, employers have to pay furloughed employees, H1 employees, their full amount, even if they are furloughed and they're not able to work right now.
Thank you. Thanks for
there is some clarifications we're asking. Some attorneys are asking more clarifications from DOL about all this. I'm just telling you, at this time, this is what we know. It might change a week from now, 2 weeks from now, next month, right? So as those updates come, maybe we can see what can reach out to you about that.
Ramgar, I just joined late, Andy. I just wanted a clarification that whatever the stimulus package, 1200, 1200, 500, 500, that is considered as not public charge. Am I correct, sir?
Yeah, 100%.
No, it's not. It's not a public charge. You can take it, won't impact any future H1 petition or green card application or citizenship. You can take that money 100%. Same with unemployment if you qualify for unemployment insurance.
Okay,
so to
thank
get
you.
on, there are some questions in the chat. Chris, did you finish Anand's question about the 529? Because I think you were talking about that.
Finished and AJ finished the Chandra Somu. Sir, Chandra Somu Garu, I mean, it is more like a specific question. It is definitely a positive side only. I'm sending you an email ID and you check the code from our LATA president and email us. I will give the exact answer for it. It's a specific question.
Okay, so I think after Anand's question, Harsha is asking if H4 is an ITIN number and H1 kids have SSN, who's eligible? Only the SSNs are eligible. H4 is not eligible for that half of that part of the stimulus package. You must have a social security number to qualify for this benefit. No questions asked. That's it. You have to have SSN.
If applied jointly, then the taxes filed jointly.
Yeah, if you file jointly, the people who has SSN will get the rebate.
So only you and your children will get the rebate, or vice versa. If your spouse is the one with SSN, then only she gets the rebate. You cannot qualify for that rebate. Vice versa, if you have SSN and your spouse is on ITIN number, only you will get that rebate. Either way, you will only get the 1,200 minus the increasing, it goes down as you get higher income level, plus the 500 plus 500 for the kids for having SSN.
Thank you.
Next one is, when can we expect stimulus check? The current stimulus checks have been going out now, the direct deposits rather, but that is just for the lowest income brackets in the United States. They're trying to prioritize, say, the fast food workers, or those kinds of workers. They want to prioritize them first, and then every week they'll go up a little bit, and then eventually many of you will then start seeing your direct deposits or your stimulus checks. So it'll be based on your income bracket. It'll be some time. Payroll runs on employee location based or employer location based. I'm not sure what's asking, but that's really up to your employer. Employer is the one usually the employer runs the payroll from their home state, but that's up to you. I don't know how your employer runs payroll. And then Chandra, I know Chris mentioned that we'll get more specific into this, but just to talk about unemployment in general. So if you're on EAD or green card or have some other ability to always work for any employer, you're typically available for the unemployment benefits, because under unemployment, you have to be considered ready and able to work for any employer. Unfortunately, USCIS, not USCIS, rather the states, they don't consider H1s for the most part to be considered ready and able to work, because H1s are often tied only to that specific employer. So you can't just jump from employer to employer, right? You have to get the specific employer to file a petition for you, get the petition approved, and then you can work for them, right? That being said, some states might have different rules. So California rule might be different from the Texas rule. So you have to check with your state's unemployment division if you're on H1 to see if you qualify for the unemployment. You have to tell them that I'm on H1. Do I qualify for the unemployment insurance because I was laid off? Generally speaking, that would not be the case, because if you're laid off, you're not really maintaining an H1B status, right? Except for that 60 days grace period. It's more beneficial to look for the next H1 job or to have change to another status such as H4. One other thing is that if your hours are being reduced or you are furloughed, you can qualify for a partial unemployment. Like say you went from 40 hours a week to 10 hours a week, then the 30 hours difference, sometimes, like, some states like California, lots of times it's those West Coast states that are more generous with it. They will be willing to give you a part-time unemployment. But again, you should contact the California EDD or your state's equivalent to get more information about that. Sai here says, how does resident alien play a role in this?
I'm answering that, Sunil. If you are a non-resident alien, tax purposes, you are not qualified for the stimulus check. But if you are a resident alien and having SSN only, you are qualified for the stimulus check.
Yeah, and as I mentioned very early in this conversation, it is very unlikely that you are considered a non-resident alien. I would say 99.9% of you here are considered to be resident aliens. You simply have to be in the United States for the previous 183 days, more or less. If you're going back and forth to India, there's some others, like a small mathematical formula to calculate based on, they count only the 30-year days in the last year and the 60-year days from 2 years ago, plus all the days from the current year. If that adds up to 183, then you're also considered a resident alien. But for the most part, if you're an H1 worker or EAD worker, you've been living here for the past year, you are most definitely a resident alien. So I think that would apply to almost all of you. But if you have some specific question about that, you can ask us. If you've only been here like for a short amount of time.
Rambar, I came to US around 4 years ago on H1B visa. Am I a resident alien or a non-resident alien?
You are a resident alien.
So am I eligible for stimulus check?
Yes.
If you have SSN, if you're SSN.
Yeah, I have SSN.
Then let me put it this way. You should really only have a question if you're a resident alien if you've been in the US for less than 6 months. If you have been in the US for less than 6 months, then there is a calculation, but you have been in the US before, say within the last 2 years, 3 years, then there's a calculation to be made. But if you've been in the US for more than 6 months as of today, then you're definitely a resident alien.
So I'll be eligible for the stimulus check.
Yes. By 6 months, I mean, yes, by 6 months, I mean 183 days. So it's a little bit more than 6 months, actually.
Okay, thank you.
A quick question on the same lines, Sunil Garu. Let's say if the person is in US for a little more than 6 months, sometime late last year, but did not file the returns yet, do they still get the stimulus check? Because they came in country for the first time.
Oh, when they came?
They came to US, let's assume late last year.
No, they can't get
December. So November, you're saying?
Let's assume November, December. They came to this country.
December. See, anybody who comes here after July, they have to file 1040 NR. 1040 NR, non-resident tax return. They don't get it.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, time already 1:04 p.m. in the day. It's 1:04 Pacific time and 4:04 Eastern time. Thank you very much, Sunil Garu. Thank you, Ramakrishna, for your time, and thank you for the participants. We really received a tremendous response. It's way more than what we anticipated. And yeah, if you have any questions, please you can email to us info@latausa.org, and also please subscribe to our LATA newsletter, Andy. And Ramakrishna, Sunil Garu, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, and it's happy to share our things and idea and advice and whatever the question and answers. And I'm going to share a code to Mr. Lata President Garu, and the follow-up questions, any specific which is not falling under attorney-client relationship, when we answer that kind of questions will be answered. And if anything falling under that one, it has to go to the process, because our Maryland bar is very strict on answering specific questions. So I mean, we are under monitoring of all these ethics and all. So that's the reason we cannot answer specific question. So I'm going to share the code to them, and they can approach our email through our emails, and we're happy to advise them to the extent possible.
Thank you, Ramakrishna Garu.
Thanks, Andy.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for connecting.
Go ahead, Sunil.
Thank you, Ramakrishna Garu.
Thank you, Andy.
Thanks,
Very
Andy.
informative.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks. Here, Garu, you have anything to say?
No, Andy, thank you very much for everybody.
Srihar Garu, I'll send you the code, Andy, so that if anybody approaches you, you can give it to them.